Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Starcraft 2. I am your host, Zoronden, and today is Pro Saturday. In today's matchup on Antigua Shipyard, in the top right corner, it is going to be the Blue Terran SuperNova. And in the bottom left corner, the Red Zerg VortiX. And I don't know a ton about either of these players. However, VortiX is from Spain. And he's also the younger brother of Lucifron, who I have casted before. And SuperNova is a player from South Korea. So we should definitely have a good match out of these two guys here today. Now, I do have it on a little faster here just in the beginning because this is a long match. But I'm going to be slowing it down any second now, just so we can enjoy the rest of the game at normal pace. And it looks like SuperNova and VortiX have both grabbed those fast expands. Little bit of a drone harass here. It is going to slow that expansion down just a little bit. Not that much, though. And that drone is going to eventually be forced to run home. Can't take on two SCVs. That would just not be feasible for him. And let's bring up that production tab as well. VortiX does, of course, have his pool coming down. His second, or his natural here, rather, will be finishing very soon. Barracks going up for SuperNova. We should see his orbital right away. There it indeed is. And SuperNova is now going to go for his own scout. He will definitely see the natural here. No question about that. However, those lings are going to get him most likely, especially as he tries to turn and get out of here. And indeed, he does go down. Running home for that poor little SCV. And it looks like we got some lings going out into the field. If they get anywhere near SuperNova's base, I will indeed slow down the game. But it looks like he's just going to use one to attempt to scout, potentially do some harass. However, those Marines are going to cause that ling to have to keep moving. And he does indeed go down without doing any damage and not really finding out any scouting information either. Did he see these barracks here? No, he did not. They may not have even been started yet. So, no information out there. And we do have several queens up here. The creep spread is, of course, beginning to spread around. Both gases up here on the main, none up on the natural just yet. None on the natural for SuperNova either. And actually, we're going to go back to normal speed here, as it looks like we're getting ready for some Hellion harassment. And I don't want to miss any of that. That third is now getting attacked by the Hellions. That's going to take those Hellions a while to take it out. VortiX could easily take these queens over and do damage, but the Hellions almost went for it. Seeing those queens change their minds. Here come the queens. They're trying to stick with that creep, but they really want to get to those Hellions and try and do some damage. And now with that creep there, those Hellions are going to pull out, especially with the expansion now finished. Now there are 4 Hellions coming in here. Oh, and quite a few canceled creep tumors. And actually saving those so you can redo them. Didn't want the Hellions to kill them off. Those lings are really desperately trying to do some damage to the Hellions. They do manage to take one out. But those Hellions are not something you really want to be attacking with Zergling. Excuse me here a minute, I'm reaching for something. Alright, sorry about that. Anyways, Hellions are going to kind of just sit out here, kind of try and contain VortiX for the moment so that SuperNova himself can have map control. However, these queens just keep encroaching on those Hellions as the creep just keeps spreading out. This creep spread is pretty dang good by VortiX so far. He's just keeping it actively going. And obviously, he's got quite a few creep tumors doing the spreading. And a good group of lings as well. Obviously, speedlings, as you've noted. I don't believe SuperNova got Blue Flame. Most likely not. We can actually check right there. And indeed, he did not. Just built a few Hellions for some harassment. It looks like now we're going to get some nice drops going on. Did that ling spot it? I don't think he did, but it got very close. He may have. Of course, this Overlord here will spot it if he goes in too far. And actually, there's another Overlord right there. So VortiX is going to see this very quickly. Can SuperNova pull off some nice damage here? That is going to be the real question. The Queen and the Lings already moving in. Those Marines have to get out of there. And I don't think he lost any Marines. I don't think he had any. I don't think that one was full. Got Hellions up front doing some nice damage. There we go. Going to snipe off that Overlord very easily, putting them on that kind of tiered ramp thing. Hellions were sniping tumors up there. Not too exciting, but definitely interesting to note. And that is a lot of Lings, but that is also a good grouping of Marines, obviously backed by Medivacs. And there he's going to clear out a few creep tumors, load on up, and just continue this harass. With only one Queen against anti-air up here, it's making it very difficult for SuperNova, or excuse me, for VortiX to really do any defense there. And obviously that Spore Crawler is going to help out defend that mineral line. And it looks like he's going to drop off, and looks like he might just be going home. At this time, SuperNova is grabbing his third. In fact, that orbital is already built and upgraded, since it is an orbital, obviously. Got a nice wall off on his major ramp there. And it looks like we might have another drop coming in by SuperNova, and these drops are going to start to be a pain against VortiX. And look at that, an Overlord got sniped off by what seems to just be a harassment Viking. Of course, that Viking goes down quite easily to a Spore Crawler. And here comes that drop, dropping just out of range of that Spore Crawler. He's going to try and snipe off that Queen, and he does indeed do that. He's going to run right into that drone line and start picking off drones, and just all of them going down. What is VortiX doing? He needs to start retreating. There they go. The drone's finally getting out of there. The Spore Crawler indeed goes down. The Medivac obviously can now move in and do its healing much closer. Now we got Mutas coming out. These are going to cause the Marines some serious issues, especially that Medivac. That Medivac is not long for this world. It's probably going to try and drop its units right here just to try and do a little damage. It only drops one, and he goes down. Super, super easy. And check out this creep spread continuing to migrate across the map. What did I just click? Ah! There we go. I don't really know what happened there. Anyways, it looks like the Mutas are getting ready to do some harassment. Obviously, SuperNova knew it was coming. He's got several turrets up so far. However, it is not quite enough. He's going to easily pick off quite a few SCVs here, especially if they don't run. They need to run here. The Mutalisks just having a heyday sniping off those SCVs. A few Marines come in and start doing some damage, and the Queens want, or the Queens, wow. No, this is not Brood War. Those are Mutalisks, and they want nothing to do with that, and have obviously retreated. Now we have a drop in the main of VortiX. The Marines here are going to try and snipe off this Queen and hopefully get that lair. He's obviously going to try and get that. Oh, he's going for the infestation pit. Wants to stop that upgrade, and with those Lings coming in, that may... Oh, he does indeed get the snipe. Pops all his Marines in there, but they are going to go down to those Mutalisks. Again, he drops a few, trying to do what damage he can to already dead units. And these Mutas are effectively stopping the drop harass by SuperNova, or at least causing it severe damage. Obviously, losing that infestation pit was not something VortiX wanted to do, but he has started another one already. Is that it? No, that is definitely not it. I'm not sure where he put that down, but he's already started another one, and indeed, there it is. That's something a lot of people will do, is recognize they're going to lose a building, and obviously just start building it as a replacement right away, because something like the infestation pit you definitely don't want to be without, especially if he's going to need to make infestors at any time, which obviously infestors are always such a good unit. And another drop's going to get caught off guard here. The Mutas are going to just totally sauce this, and two Marines get out and do very little damage. That is just unfortunate for those Marines, and geez, check out this creep spread. So many tumors, almost looking like some sort of cuneiform language. Each one's a weird letter, backwards C, some sort of dipper, a V. I don't know. I don't know. But bottom line is that is some ambitious creep spread. Is definitely making its way across the map very quickly. It's going to get into SuperNova's base sooner rather than later, and it's going to cause him some issues. Obviously, the sensor tower is going to help, and he knows he needs something like that as the creep spread gets closer and closer. He knows those units are just going to be sitting nearer and nearer his base, causing him issues. It looks like we have a single Marine drop. Is that what was going on there? Probably just a scouting Marine, seeing if anything was there. And check this out. SuperNova is moving out. He is whacking off several creep tumors with those scans. Wants to push back this creep as much as he can. Obviously, siege tanks on the field is going to help as well. I believe it. Yes, indeed. I do see Banelings on the field for VortiX. It does look like he has Baneling speed as well. Sniping off some more tumors. I'm not sure what these three Marines are going to do here. They're going to quickly die, unless VortiX doesn't want to go for them. They were somewhat of a trap, almost running into a siege line. And here come the Mutas. They're going to want to be careful with that many Marines. Lings moving in. Quite a few popped off by that siege tank. Mutas do manage to get a siege tank before they have to run away as well. So both armies getting fairly sizable. In fact, VortiX is maxed. He's also got Ultralisks on the way. If you guys don't watch my cast very much, I love the Ultralisk. Anytime the Ultralisk gets on the field, it is an exciting game. And we got more Marines going for more tumors, and a fungal gets those Marines, and they are all gone. Yesterday's news, a piece of ancient history. And here come the mutas. They want to do some more damage. However, again, those Marine numbers are disturbing for that few amount of mutas. And here come the Ultralisks, another fungal. Those guys are gone. And this army is very dangerous by VortiX. He is going to start rolling out with it as his funds are starting to pile up, and he is maxed out as well. He is ready to do some damage. Those sacrificial Ultralisks taking all the damage, so the Lings and Banelings and Infestors can all roll in and just completely mop up this entire area. The front wall of SuperNova just barely holds. And look at that, reinforcements all move in and re-secure everything for SuperNova. He actually holds off that attack that at one point looked so destructive, and SuperNova is going to move out right away and go for this fourth. He does not want it to stand. He wants to kill all these drones. Siege tanks sieging up, just not enough units, a few mutas there. That army definitely cannot take out that army, and that fourth is going to fall very easily. Very little resistance, and a few Marines popping off drones as they try to retreat. And still, VortiX's army here just can't cut it quite yet. A few more Ultralisks pop out of there. They're going to try and run home. One takes about half damage. That is some serious hurting. The other one's pretty good. And Ultralisks are only up to 4 armor so far and 2 attack. Of course, the other 2 upgrades are on the way. They're getting near done. It looks like Bio for SuperNova is at 2-2 as well, and VortiX is at, the tanks, the mech, rather, is at 1 attack. And a new fourth is being established, but SuperNova wants nothing of that. He's going to siege up on this high ground, I assume. At least one does. There goes a few more, and he's going to easily pop this fourth. VortiX needs to get a cancel off. Is he going to cancel it? Last minute attempt to try and save it. A fungal taking out a few units. I don't think he got the cancel. Ultralisk up there doing some serious damage, trying to weave through the Marines and the Marauders to get to the squishy tanks. And indeed, they get there. A few Marines backing up, starting to make those Ultralisks go down as they got low health after that long battle, and just barely holding it off. SuperNova does indeed win that round again. Another new fourth going up for VortiX. He really needs more minerals as his main is pretty dry. His natural's getting there, and obviously the third is still pretty tasty and full of those good minerals going on over there. And that Marauder is in a dangerous position. He needs to get up on that ramp. Does not want to be down there. Another scan going down. Wants to know where those tumors are, where that army is, and obviously he clips a bit of the army. Quite a few Ultralisks on the field. Yes, indeed, 6 Ultralisks on the field for now. Though obviously they are 5-3 now. A 5-3 Ultralisk is a scary, scary sight. And it looks like he's going to move in. Here comes VortiX trying to take over the Zelnaga Watchtower again. Several of those tanks are in the front and there, got squished quite easily. Several more fungals, and SuperNova's in a bad position now. He is having to pull back. Can VortiX take out this third here with the PF? It's going to be a long and hard task, especially with all these SCVs here. Quite a few SCVs, though, are going down as the army got squished against that front wall over there of SuperNova's base. However, this fourth here is in danger of going down. He's really trying to hack at it. There indeed does go. Just too many SCVs that got killed to keep that repair going. Actually, there were quite a few SCVs there. It looks like they just weren't repairing for some reason. That final Ultralisk kind of got trapped and went down. However, 3 made it out alive to see another day, to fight again for the Swarm. Overlord party over here. Ain't no party like an Overlord party. Here comes another small attack wave. I say small, that's a relative term when you got 3 Ultralisks and 3 groups of Zergling. A nice transfuse there on the Ultralisk by VortiX, by the way. Just wanted to mention that because it was so... Wow! That is a lot of medevacs. 12, 13 medevacs sitting there. That is a lot of healing, especially when almost all of them are at least at half energy. But again, just so many medevacs, going to be a lot of healing. And a drop going down here at that fourth that has been up so many times. It is, of course, going to be easily defended. Even a fungal going down on that medevac, probably not even needed, especially with all those corruptors that are now going to be broodlords. And how can you complain with a match that has mutas, broodlords, and ultralisks? And not only that, but we have ultralisk and broodlords on the field at the same time. Another attack wave coming into this fourth here. The broodlords could be in danger here. The scan goes down. He should see those guys. However, that is a thick army to go through to try and squish the broodlords. And the broodlords now have popped and are going to go to work. And these marauders are having a very bad day, and these tanks are going to start feeling the pain next. As these marines try to move in, here comes the zerglings, the infestors, the ultralisks. Fungos go down on the 13 medevacs, trying to take those out. Can he get another one? Even more fungos going down on the troops. Most of the medevacs have pulled back. They're trying to get out of there. Just that army got completely driven through. Will this fourth fall again for VortiX? Obviously, SuperNova wants to do the damage, but can he commit? He's taking some heavy damage. However, the broodlords are carrying this attack. He's going to easily take down anything that's here in the way. SuperNova has to pull back, has to recollect his troops and attempt to defend this. This planetary is not long to this world. Obviously, the SCVs are going to try and repair. They've already stopped because it got fully repaired. They have to go back to work again. So many SCVs are going down here. This is quite disturbing. 25 worker kills by SuperNova, but actually only 13 so far by VortiX, as he's now focusing mainly on the PF instead of the workers. He needs to go for the workers, not the planetary fortress. Of course, he is costing SuperNova quite a bit of money, but forcing him to constantly repair this planetary fortress. And that is just a completely free one-sided battle by VortiX. He is simply just throwing in broodlings. He does lose an infestor and a corruptor there. The ultralisk gets a little angsty. He wants to go in as well. Corruptor's just kind of trying to dodge in, defend the broodlords while they do their thing. The corruptor's going to go after those Vikings a little gung-ho. However, the broodlords are targeting the marines. What are left? This is an insane fight. Here comes a Thor, wants to get into the action. However, Thor versus Broodlord just doesn't work out quite right. And that planetary fortress is still up. But SuperNova is running very low on funds. He actually stopped repairing because he ran out for a second there. There goes some more repairs. That PF is getting very low, though. If he focuses on it, it is so close to going down. Here comes a mule. Is the mule going to mine or attack? The ultralisks come in. Zerglings as well. That PF is cracked. It finally goes down. The line is broken. VortiX is happy. He's pulling back. Going to recoup his losses, get some new troops on the field, and potentially begin this attack all again. Here come the broodlords going again. Vikings obviously hungry to kill those broodlords. That was an infestor that went down there. The Thor obviously starting to do some nice damage getting in there. Will the Thor survive long? Here comes a new orbital to re-secure this position. And there it does indeed land. How long will it last on the field? I'm going to pull that HUD down again. The Thor is out. Ultralisk into the squishy tanks. Can these Ultralisks get there? They are very, very low on health. That poor Ultralisk only about... Oh, and he's dead. Vikings going in here again. The army for VortiX has gotten very thin at this point, but he's causing SuperNova so much damage here. And it looks like some point in there, VortiX lost a fourth. Obviously a drop going on by SuperNova, trying to be defended off here as this attack continues to go on strong. This queen doing her best to try and kill these guys. There's even SCVs in this drop. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Obviously, the spine crawler is going to kill that guy. Here come drones, going to try and take out this final marauder going on in this attack. Broodlords and corruptors still trying to do their thing up north, especially with a few zergling reinforcements. And this marauder is going to easily take out these drones now that he has moved out of range of the spine crawler. And indeed, he'll actually be able to move right up and take out that spine crawler if he indeed wants to. However, that is a small attack at this time. And we got some crazy long-range mining going on by quite a few drones. And that is pretty much the only minerals at this time that VortiX is getting. And that is why we have not seen a good reinforcement grouping. And now that SuperNova is taking out the Broodlords, in fact, I think he's taken out all of them. All VortiX really has on the field is Queens and Zergling. Let's check out that unit tab. Indeed, that is the case. VortiX is going to be in serious issue here, especially if SuperNova still has some mining bases. However, I don't think he does either. Both players just desperately need resources trying to secure this expansion over here. However, if he drops there, obviously that Zergling would see it. And it's becoming some sort of choking game here. However, VortiX is actually getting some funds in. He is now putting up a new hatchery at this, what will now be his, like, 4th base. He's positioned Zerglings kind of all over the map in an obvious attempt to thwart that mining. There's now some long-range mining going on here. Here come the Zergling, want to try and get in and kill as many workers as possible. Each one is a critical kill. However, they are loading up into the medevacs. The Vikings have landed, and oh no, the Vikings almost go down. The one did, the other did not. Those Lings are doing some very nice damage. The medevacs obviously helping out quite a bit, though, and loading up units, saving quite a few SCVs that would have ended up dying. And as soon as this hatchery finishes for VortiX, it is going to be a game of just waiting for VortiX, just mining up more resources, because once he establishes an economy, obviously he's got a bad economy now with a crazy long-range mining system going on. Look at that. That is nuts. But once this is established, this is probably going to spell the doom for SuperNova, especially if he continues to get blocked at every turn. I mean, there's a Ling at every single possible expansion on the map. I don't think SuperNova has a chance or a prayer. The resource income, let's check out what that is doing now. That is not what I wanted. I don't yet know these completely. There, minerals. There we go. That is indeed what I wanted. And so obviously, pretty decent income now established by. Oh god, how do I get rid of it? There we go. And a pretty decent economy now established, obviously, by SuperNova, because he put down so many mules. But look at this. Infested Zerglings coming in. Infested Terran trying to go at the worker line, doing as much damage as he can. If he can take out this orbital, that'll be a pretty good strike. A nice fungal on some SCVs. Quite a few of them go down. That orbital is indeed going to escape. The Infested Terrans trying to do their damage. The mules go down as well. And let's check out that production tab now, or that resource tab, and check that out. There is no income at all for SuperNova now. Not even gas. Obviously, VortiX is getting some gas from his... Okay, VortiX is no longer getting gas. He is now establishing a 5th base, which again is going to be huge now that he has 2 mining bases, and poor SuperNova is still just wandering around the map, long-range mining, without an established base. He's now going to drop this orbital right here. That is going to help out quite a bit. And honestly, this is going to be his only chance in this game. If this base goes, oh my gosh, it is over. There is no way SuperNova can come back from Broodlords now being on the field. I believe there's only 1 Viking left. I don't even know where that poor little guy is. This is just absolutely devastating for anything SuperNova wants. Obviously, the Marauder trying to attack those Broodlings, not doing a too good of a job, especially without a medevac. And indeed, oh, he just gets out of there alive. The turret tower goes down. That's not going to happen. Broodlords are going to continue to go to work here. There are 6 of them on the field, and for that, 120 food to 40 food is just not going to spell anything good for SuperNova. It'll be a miracle for him to pull off this win at this time. However, do not GG till it's over. He's going to try to micro this army and kill those Broodlings as best he can. Scouting around with a starport. I'm not even sure what that orbital is doing right there. Hoping, I'm supposed to do some long-range mining. I'm not really sure. However, those Corruptors are just pounding that orbital. It is not long for this world. He's going to try and fly into these turrets. Unfortunately, that command center, or orbital command as well, is gone. The Broodlords go to work on this expansion. A small fight over here. What's left of SuperNova's army trying to take out these Lings. Unfortunately, there are just too many Lings there, and now there's only 3 Marines and a Marauder left, and that is not good. And SuperNova knows it. He is just out of this game. Crazy late game economy war there. Those are always fun. You don't see them too often when both players just have no economy and are struggling to find it. Anyways, congrats to SuperNova for holding him off for that long. That was a very nice play. But of course, the victory goes to VortiX, and congrats to VortiX. Gosh, Mutalisks, Ultralisks, and Broodlords. I cannot complain. That was a heck of a game. A little longer than I usually cast, but it was worth it. Good game, and I enjoyed that. Anyways, guys, I am Zoronden. If you liked this cast, please do thumbs up. Please do subscribe. It helps me out. I'm a small channel, and the more I The more you guys help me, the more content I can actually get out to you. So, thanks for watching, and I'll catch all of you next time.